What's going on, everybody? I want to share with you a recent experience I had on a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee. This vehicle had a blinking select mode switch for a four-wheel drive system. The diagnosis took me a long time because I didn't understand how the system was supposed to work or what data PIDs I should have. You know, if we know what good is, it's always easy to find bad. If we don't know what good is, it takes more time. My big amount of time was taking the time to learn how the system worked. That's what we have to do sometimes. In this video, just so you know, I got it broken down in two sections. First of all, I'm going to break down what I did and how I did it quickly, run through it with you guys, just so you can see what I did from a diagnostic standpoint. The rest of the video is like over an hour of footage that I reduced into 20-something minutes of me doing the actual testing. But come along for the ride if you're interested. Hope you like this. So this vehicle, this 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee, has what they call a drivetrain control module. I heard that a transmission was installed in this vehicle, and I had a little bit of blinders on because I was thinking it had to be something related to a transmission install. You know, blown fuse, bad power, bad ground, crimped harness, pinched harness. So I had a little bit of blinders on when I got there. But started into this thing, doing a complete code scan, no communication with the drivetrain control module. The switch that was lighting up only has 3 wires to it. The switch on the center console that has all the mode lights was all blinking. That has a power, a ground, and a LIN bus. But the first thing I want to do is get the meter out, guys. I checked for fuses at the totally integrated power module. I checked fuse 15. We checked both sides of it. We had 12.9 volts on both sides, as you see. Next fuse I wanted to check was a J-case fuse. I didn't have a pair of pliers handy. And knowing that this fuse was good here, I decided that really I'm going to get to this module wherever it is. And at that point, I didn't know where it was located. But I'm going to check the ground there. And if I'm down to this module to check the ground, I can check this other power right here and make sure that's good as well. However, when I was underneath the hood, I did think about, I didn't put it on here, but I did check this fuse 20 at 15 amp, and that feeds this switch. I assumed it would be good, but you never know. I just want to check that. So, accessing the module, which is underneath the driver's seat, which is in what they call a module well. I think this is going to be our wishing well for water. It's going to fill up. I guarantee these are going to start causing problems in the future sometime. But it could make a swimming pool down there if we get a water leak vehicle. But this module's inside the module well. I accessed that. It was pretty easy to get to. I checked for the ground. We had 30 millivolts on the ground. Guys, low voltage on the ground is usually a good thing, and that's what we had there. I checked for the power, the same power we had up at the fuse block, integrated power module. I checked for B plus down there, we had it. Checked for B plus on the feed from the J-case fuse, and that was good as well. So the next thing I wanted to do was, being that this module wasn't communicating, had no communication with it with a scan tool. And also, I meant to tell you, there's no codes whatsoever in the rest of the vehicle. The only complaint was the all-wheel drive mode switch was blinking. And there were no codes or any other service messages anywhere in this vehicle, which was really interesting, I thought. So I checked from battery negative to the can low. We had about 2.2 volts. And battery negative to the can high, I had 2.7 volts. That was good. I did check that with the scope, as you'll see later on. I probed both sides. One of the things I didn't do a good job of showing in that video was as this module would communicate and not communicate, it was an intermittent thing. Originally it was a flat out no communication, but after I unplugged it and plugged it back in, we had communication coming and going, as you'll see if you watch further. But I was making sure that these powers and grounds and also our CAN bus wasn't dropping out when the lack of communication happened. So another thing I checked quickly, because it was easy to get to, that four-wheel drive mode select Trac switch pops right out of the center console. I did check for power at that and the ground, and that was all good. Also, I checked the LIN bus. I had about 8 volts on there. Guys, I'm learning every day, and in a quest for more knowledge, I wanted to get the scope out, and I did have this LIN bus pattern, and that's good. Just because I was there and it doesn't take but a second to do, I put the CAN bus decoder on the picoscope on there, and we had you know, data. Whether that's good or bad, I can't tell you, but if it decodes it, I'm assuming it's not a bad signal. So that was all good. So we basically got to the point with this vehicle where I didn't trust the data on an Autel scanner, and this was making me kind of crazy. Turns out I bought a YTech subscription, and I had the same information as you'll see in the video. Long story short, the transfer case, or should I say the drivetrain control module, was bad. So I got to the point on this module where I isolated it. I jumpered the powers and grounds, and I also jumpered the data line. And what that did by doing all that jumpering is I took all these other modules off of the, should I say other modules, I took these other components, which when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the four-wheel drive encoder motor, the sensor switches, and all that stuff. I took that stuff off of the network so that we can make sure that there's nothing else drawing it down or causing a problem like you've seen in other videos, I'm sure. So that was basically my diagnosis. I took a lot of time to do it, won't lie, way more time than I like to, but I had to learn how the system worked so I could properly diagnose it. Thanks for watching. Hope you watched the rest. At the very end of this, I do have that module. I'll go ahead and take it apart, trying to find something. I couldn't find anything, but you can see that later. You guys have a great day. Thank you. Another fine Chrysler product. We got a 12 Jeep. The complaint is we have these lights blinking. No four-wheel drive operation. We did a complete code scan, of course, when we got here, and I had no communication to the drivetrain control module. That module is back here underneath the seats, and that guy's right here. It has a power all the time, key on power and ground. Those all check good. I did check the fuses before I checked anything back here and went digging back here. Also, the CAN bus runs here, CAN C runs back here. I did check for voltage on the CAN bus lines. CAN low was about 2.1, CAN high 2.7, and we had no communication. So being that the powers and grounds were good, I did not want to disconnect the battery on this vehicle, but I did turn the key off, unplug the module, plug the module back in, and we did have communication. Oh, and now we have no communication with the vehicle, with the drivetrain control module again. This is interesting, guys. So you see no communication, and now our auto light blinks, and then it's almost like it's flashing a code. I haven't found any information on this yet. Alright, let's go back here. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect and reconnect this switch. I don't like doing this, but somehow this thing's getting a logic lock. At least that's what I think is going on. Try to figure it out. They call the drivetrain control module part of the looks like we're not going to have any communication here. Okay, so let me try something, guys. I think, just so you know, looking at a wiring diagram, this shift or transfer case control module, if you will, is wired on a LIN bus. There's only 3 wires here, so we got a power and a ground and a data line. On that data line, I'm showing about 8 volts. I got to get my scope on it. I really want to see if we have something good going on there, but we have 8 volts on that, and that goes to the cluster. And our cluster seems to be operating normally, but when I go into the cluster, let's go to the control unit, body, cluster. In the cluster, if we go to live data, I'm showing my four-wheel drive switch voltage to be at 0 volts, but I don't know if that is a bus input. It says four-wheel drive status shift switch status is short high. I might bust out the Y-Tech here, because this is where it can get very interesting to try and figure out what are we supposed to have. And we have a transfer case neutral not set, transfer case shift progress not set. It says that there's a shift in progress. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hook up our picoscope here. I want to check out this LIN bus. This switch only has 3 wires. So let's go ahead and open that up, take a look, see. I want to make sure I'm not like showing some sort of stuck high voltage. I'm showing 8 point something odd volts on my multimeter. Let's see. Oh, gotta remember which color lead you're in. I snagged my blue one and broke it. Let's turn this one off, and we're going to go to channel B, turn it on. 0 to 20 volts should be plenty. Alright, so I see what I say to be, or as they say, I spy with my little eyes. This looks alright to me. I don't see anything bad here. We're going up pretty high. Let's just zoom in on a section, take a look. When you see this, we can drop this down and see where we're at here. About 13 volts or so. Let's see where we're going down on the low end. About 900 millivolts on the low end getting pulled down. That's cool. I'm not worried about that. We can make sure with Picoscope, guys, just so you know, I'm sure you're aware, you can do decoding. So if we get a capture like this, I'm going to go to Tools, Serial Decoding. I don't know how this decodes LIN bus, because that's what this is. This is a LIN bus. That means we can't talk to this module directly. This module talks to other modules. In this case, it's the cluster. The cluster communicates with this, and we can communicate with the cluster. So we're going to click on Create, and we're going to go for LIN bus. I truly don't know what is good here, so we'll try it out. Channel B. I'll just let this stuff roll, and we'll hit OK. Alright, so we are decoding here, so it's somewhat valid information, I would assume, which is pretty cool. So I gotta continue to hunt. Alright guys, so I'm putting on record. I'm gonna go ahead and purchase a YTech subscription. I hate to do that if I don't have to, but I think I'm gonna do that, so I just know that I'm getting the proper data. I don't have the snap-on scanner with me at the moment, which isn't mine, by the way. But I'm thinking I'll put this, buy the YTech subscription, and we'll see if there's anything different that comes up in the data stream. Because as I'm going through data, I don't know which data PIDs are proper and not. And the one I'm getting hung up with is the, let's see here, hold on. In the instrument cluster, this is where I want to make sure that I'm getting decent information, because look at this. Four-wheel switch voltage is 0 volts. I got hung up on that, but if this is a bust input, you know, what is good? So that's why I want to go ahead and get the factory tool out on this one. Okay, so I wanted to, there's a power and a ground here, and also another power. I want to make sure if we power up this module, not have the encoder motor or the motor wires that I showed in 2.6 volts on connected, that we still lose communication with the module. And let's turn the key on here and see what we get. Make sure we're all live here. Rescanning vehicles. You gotta let that finish. We'll see what else pops up. Okay, we are online. We're back to our flashing lights here. And it does show that there is a flash update for this. Now, oh, wait a second. A little booger. It's dropping off. I truly don't understand why. This is awesome stuff, huh? Alright, so I was thinking, what if we have something external to the transfer case control module pulling it down? This thing's on muddy, wet ground. I don't feel like crawling underneath it. So we jumpered, we have our powers. There's 2 powers, 1 ground, and there are data lines here. So we got our 2 powers, the 1 ground, and the data lines jumpered. So that eliminates all the other circuits, which are all going down to the transfer case from this point. So let's see if we have any change here. I gotta see, turn the key on, and so let's see on our Y-Tech. Huh. Okay, so we still have a module that's dropping offline. It popped orange or yellow and then it went away. That's pretty odd. Oh, there it is again. So, and we've got our flashing four-wheel drive switch. Guys, I gotta think that at this point, for me to be losing communication with this module, something else bigger has got to be going on with it. Maybe the module itself, but let's take a look with a scope. Plug this in and let's get into the data line here. Alright, so guys, we're taking a look there. We're just getting a scope piggybacked on there. I'm using the ground of the module just to see kind of what the module shows. This is pretty interesting, guys. Why is that come and go? Unbelievable. Waiting to verify I'm not crazy one more time. Keep your eye on that module. Right there. And of course nothing's happening. Let me turn the key on and off. Telling you before this thing was coming and going. You know it communicated because it pulled the flash number from it. That's why it has this compared to the calibration lookups for it. Why is it not talking now? Now let's take a look at the scope. See what our CAN C looks like back there. So we are seeing some activity on a bus here, and I don't think it's anything bad. Let's take a look. So there's CAN activity. Question is why we got nothing going good here. So with the module totally bypassing all the components, go down to the shift motor on the transfer case. All we have is CAN high, CAN low, power, and ground. To this module. The module still comes and goes off the network. This module's coming and going on our network. Unresponsive. You know what? Oh, there, it's alive now. Son of a gun, you little booger, you're back. Oh, now it's not. Go back. What is causing this module come and go off the network? So sometimes I can get data out of it and sometimes I can't. So if I click on this thing fast enough, sometimes I can get into data, the other functions of the module. Like when you look here, we have these other tabs that come up across the top. If I'm fast enough, sometimes I can actually get into this module. Like if I click on it once it turns yellow, nope, I was over anticipating. It's called a red light, right? Well, I'm condemning a module at this point. We have solid powers and grounds and data line going to it, and it's dropping off. I think that's what it's going to be for starters here. Okay guys, here we are back. Time for a moment of truth. Got a brand new module. Got that bad boy plugged in down here. So we're going to see what happens. Okay? Very curious to see what goes on here. Okay, right off the bat, our four-wheel low lit up, which is good. And I can tell you I feel good about this so far. because we're just on our auto here all by itself. Okay, let's get some internet up and running here so we can go do some Y-Tech action.
I got the calibrations written down before. It'd be great if this thing had the latest calibrations in it, but we'll find that out and do what we gotta do to make it happen here. So here we are, Y-Tech 2.0. Guys, I am excited to see whether or not we have a situation going on where we keep on losing our connection. So we're gonna find out in just a second.
Hope everybody's doing good. Still on a bit of a high after the Super Saturday event. It was an awesome event to be at. Okay, here's our drivetrain control module. It's staying yellow, which is great. Interestingly enough, it may have the latest calibrations, because if we go in here, it's saying it's up to date. So I gotta grab the other module calibration. I got it here on my phone. Guys, if you aren't used to taking pictures, we got these beautiful cameras on our phones. Start using them, because it definitely comes in handy. And we had the part number was that. Let's see here. Okay, throwing myself for a loop here. I used my Autel before on this vehicle, I think originally, so I think I captured the screenshot with that of what the calibrations were in that module. I think they definitely changed, so I'm gonna have to do a Chrysler calibration look. I use this handy chart on my phone. Okay, well, I give up because I haven't been able to do it. But you can get the you can get the Chrysler lookup chart on your phone via my website or whatnot, or wherever you can get it. But I'm just gonna double check to make sure something's not screwy here. We got this part number 6839 5643, and it doesn't come up. So 6839 5643 says it's up to date, so it's not even on this list. So let's see what codes we have. All DTCs. And let's see what our drivetrain control module setting. CAN bus C, CAN bus minus. All stored. Let's clear these. Clear all DTCs. Let's take a look here. And let me see if there's any special functions we should be doing here. Let's clear the T-case adaptives. Continue. And I did that. All the lights lit up. Close. And I'm going to have to check my service information to see if there's anything that I need to be doing to complete the installation here. It is looking like a beautiful thing. I'm going to let this thing run for a few minutes before I even try to shift it around. But our drivetrain control module staying online. Love it. No blinkety blinkly over here. I have to fix this up a little bit, huh? Okay, now for the real learning part, which I'm trying to do here, guys. Because it looks like the system's operating normally. We don't have the light blinking like crazy. We only have the one output on there. That's great. What I'm looking to do is understand these inputs, because when I was doing my diagnosis, I was assuming that on all these bus inputs, we have LIN inputs too. There are LIN bus inputs down here, LIN data. I was looking for some LIN data, because this is a LIN bus that goes from this switch to the cluster, and this is in the cluster right now, and I was looking all over the place for some LIN bus data. However, it's not there, but they call this transfer case status. It says auto. If I flip the switch to snow, let's see if it switches to snow. It switches to snow there. Snow up on the cluster. Oh, go back to auto. You see that? It goes to auto, and if we go here, it'll go to snow. I think these are just different modes to operate. Sport mode. Now it says transfer case status over here is always saying auto. But going back to auto and pressing the four-wheel drive transfer case four-wheel drive low, and it says up there for 4x4 low, what's it say? Below, put in trans in neutral, press 4x4 low. So when I press the button here, 4x4 low input, it does go change to set and then not set. So I'm hesitant on this vehicle, trying to get right here. If we put this to snow mode, put this to neutral, I can hear the clunkety clunk, and we should be in 4x4 low. So it says set. Pop this back to there. Our transfer case. What? Our transfer case status. Let's say set in four-wheel low. That's great. Put this to auto. Turn off four-wheel drive low. I want to find on this vehicle where this input is from this, where I can see the different modes pop up. I'm almost guessing, and the Chrysler people out there are going to have to show me, but you know, when I rotate the dial here, as we get the different modes to show up on the dash there, if I put it through these different modes and it's working, I suppose that's how we know what's going on. You know, the light switch is on here, but that's about it. So I guess I'm just kind of confused by the scan tool data, learning every day. Good news is, testing back at this module, we did verify that we had our powers and grounds and the module was coming offline all by itself. And it was a bad drivetrain control module. So I want to go back into the data in that module and see what we can see. So we do have, in this module, we have transfer drivetrain sensor supply voltage, position sensor, motor current, whether or not it's right or left hand drive. We're not worried about that so much. Oh, ignition switch, status, wheel speeds, and we don't see the information. I'm looking terrain mode request. Here we go. This is good. Let's see if this. So it says 02. This is good. So this is what I was looking for, and I truly, without having good communication, we didn't know what was going on there. But we can change this transmission terrain position switch request. Does change, so that's great. Auto, sand, mud. Okay. And we can't get it to rock because it's not in four-wheel low. Now, terrain mode request should be this button here. It's a bust output, but it's interesting. Where I think we're getting all out of whack here is we have, this is a bust output, but technically speaking, it is our input here. So Chrysler just tripped me up again. So I managed to destroy this module trying to take it apart. Just so you know, these little tabs, they clip in. Let me see if I can make this focus. Probably can't. The pins that are fused into the module, they apparently, they clip in. I don't know how else to put it. So trying to pry this module up and out of here was disastrous. I don't think I broke the module. Unfortunately, taking a look at this circuit board, I don't see anything that was causing a problem. This is me. I was trying to scrape off this, the coating so I could take a look at a couple of these chips to see what the numbers were. But I don't see anything here. I was hoping to see like maybe something I could actually try to fix, but it's a little bit out of my skill level at this point. I think this is like a heat sink paste. It feels like a soft foam actually, or you know, a little dense foam or clay. But that's apparently some sort of heat sink for, I'm assuming these are some transistors. This is a giant capacitor of some sort. So I'm assuming that something was wrong in here. I don't know what. I was really hoping to find something like a burnout capacitor, but a lot of these circuits are surface mount technology, or surface mount form factor, I guess is what you call it. I'm still learning a lot about electronics, but that's what I got there.